Hi there. I'd like to update you on our beach situation. First of all, we're so thankful that 2 years ago we put in over 6,000 ton of rock and our big seawall out there. And without that, we would have been in deep trouble. Our buildings would have been challenged, and having camped this past summer would have been difficult. So thank you to all the supporters and donors that made that possible. And we give thanks to God that we did that when we did. Uh, but the lake is at a record high, and it is projected to go even maybe a foot higher than it is right now by next year. And so we've been looking at some issues that we're currently having, as well as trying to address any future issues we might have on our shoreline. So I'm going to share a screen with you here. And the first one is going to be a video I took on October 16th. This was the biggest storm that we've had this fall, and according to the Army Corps of Engineers, it was the most destructive storm on Lake Michigan since 1986, which was the all-time high. So I'm going to share this video with you. I don't think the sound comes through on it, but you can get the idea of it when you're looking at it. And let me pull it up right here. All right. It was about 40 to 50-mile-an-hour wind on that day. All right, I'm gonna start a slideshow here and kind of take you through what has happened and what we're doing to address it. So first of all, here you have a shot of our shoreline from earlier in the summer in June, and you can see things look great. And then this is a close-up shot of this small pocket beach. This is where we first started seeing issues, not in this picture, but later in the summer, started to have some erosion issues from the water washing over the top of the boardwalk. You see that here as it started to roll over and then wash this and started to kind of flow downhill from north to south all along this edge, and it started to erode. This area in particular where it came out of really started to push that through. As you saw in the picture earlier, that used to be all covered with sand, and now it's not. We also had area underneath the boardwalk washout of sand. You can see here also as the water came in, it also surged forward by that deck area and started to eat out from underneath the deck, shot underneath the decking here of the erosion of the sand, the bigger shot there, and then underneath the stairs here, it actually was eroded all the way back to the foundation of the sidewalk there. You can see here underneath the deck, all the open areas there, and then this is the slide that we had to remove temporarily. We'll put it back there, but we had to remove it to get access to that area. You can you see here, the first thing that we did is as we kind of close off. At that point, we thought temporarily the small pocket beach, so we could work in that area. Eventually, we had to close it off permanently, but I'll get to that in a second. You see here, so the plan was to put rock on the other side of the boardwalk. So you see we put down the filter fabric first, and that's there to hold the sand in place, and rock on top of it. You can see the rocks, we started to install it there. And then you can see here is, and you saw from the earlier pictures there, is we opened up the boardwalk in about 5 or 6 different spots to put in essentially a dam. So as that water comes across and it filters down, it can't go from north to south as easily because of the other rocks there stopping it. And it's all about a foot or so below the deck level, and it's always covered with sand. And of course, those boards will go back over top. Um, you can see in this picture how there's a few of these sections along the way, and this area is open because there was concrete poured in there to have a good fit against the seawall there. You can, as you keep going here, there's a shot of the sand getting put back in there. this as the dams went further from north to south, we knew as the water picked up speed, it might try and go down below the rocks. So rocks that are in those dam sections are about 2 or 3 feet in the ground. This seawall is about 4, 5, 6, 7 feet into the ground. This is how it looks when it's first put in. And it gets cut off, and the boards would go back on top, so you would never see it. We also, at this end part, need to plug it back in with sand, and then put in a certain, you can see they're starting to put in a seawall there, and that's about 7 to 10 feet down to really stop that water from coming through. We just showed them building it. You can see they put rock on this side and sand, and some more rock and sand on this side as well. So that should stop the water as it comes across from going down and kind of sweeping through that area. Now, as we go to this whole pocket beach area, of course, we're going to fill in this area here with a rock and sand as it was previously, but we also have to look at the whole pocket beach area. So we decided to, based on October 16th storm, we lost about 10 to 15 feet of beach along in the small pocket beach area where the boats are at, and I'll show that in a second. So we closed this off, and part of this process is putting some smaller stone. You can see it there right here, that will help plug and this filter fabric as well to keep the water as it comes through here from sucking sand out. A shot again here of the small pocket beach, so you can see where the boats are at. This area almost all got wiped out in about a 4 or 5 hour period on October 16th. So knowing that the lake could go up another foot, which means like this water would be basically, 10 feet or so inland here. That is a significant issue, and we're about the sidewalk, the gear, the camper there. So we decided to close it off. That's a shot of the sand, a lot more sand put in since it was taken. Now getting to the larger beach. So it's behaving as we had hoped. There's a few areas that we probably wouldn't be a big issue, but because of the lake level going up possibly a foot, we want to make sure that we were protected for that possibility. So the areas right here where my cursor is, you can see they started to erode there a bit. And so that's not really that big of an issue. And if the water was at a normal level, we'd put maybe a little bit more sand in there. Structurally, it's not an issue because this breakwater here would stay even if there was no sand on the side. Our real concern was the water goes up, so the water is here, and it starts to wash around and erode this back revetment here, which really is protecting the chapel on the beach, which is behind it. So our concern was that this will start to erode more and more and come around here and then challenge the chapel. Also on the north end of the large pocket beach, you have a little bit of erosion here. Once again, not a big issue in a normal year, but thinking the lake could go up a foot, the water could be here, and worried about the damage that could be done to this boardwalk, this ramp area. So what we are working on doing is a few things. So this back existing revetment, I said protect kind of the chapel and such, is we're going to extend a break wall here. So basically this side is protected, so the water can't get up here and erode behind here. Over on this area, we're basically going to take this existing revetment and continue it so it connects over here. These are kind of rude, rough drawings that I created, so they're not necessarily to scale, but it gives you the idea that of that we're basically have a rock revetment here. So the obvious question is, what about access to the beach then if you rock here? Well, hopefully it's under sand and it'll be easy to walk across. But if it's exposed, we have plans to kind of put a temporary stairs in here to give people access to it. It's not as good as a ramp, but it's something. When the lake goes down, which it will eventually, then we've got this is all be sand. Those rocks would be buried. Now these two areas here I've called possible future break wall extensions. At this point, we don't plan to extend them, but we are drawing them into the permit so that the permit lasts for 5 years, and so we know it's basically have it there in case we need to do that in the future. The permitting process is a lot simpler than our other project because it's smaller, and so it'll probably take a few weeks on it, but it's something that is easily permittable. All right, this is a shot of them actually this morning working on the break wall over here that would connect to the back revetment. And then other thing that we're working with Smith Group, our engineering firm, that we've worked on these solutions, as well as been working with Tom Dunn. He's a cottager and he's a retired civil engineer, and so he's helped us think through this project. And also Franco Morano, our caretaker, has done a phenomenal job thinking through this project day by day as the situation has changed. So this is, we've asked our engineers to look at what would be like a temporary removable protective barrier on this railing area that would stop the water that was splashing over. So we've got all these dams and these rocks, but it's a lot of water coming over. So if we could stop that, and so maybe it's something, a board or steel, something that we could put in maybe in the fall and then take out in time for the summer. But so they're looking at a possible solution there. Also asked them to look at our revetment north of this seawall. So that this is actually a revetment, meaning that it's leaning against sand. The break wall is freestanding. This is leaning against sand. I just want to have them do some modeling about what would happen if the lake does go up a foot. Is this high enough? Is this wide enough to protect us? Currently, it's doing fine as far as it's holding firm, and there's very little erosion on the other side. A little bit of sand that's sucked down into here, but nothing significant so far. And I think, yeah, that is it. We're also asking Smith Group to look at the October 16th storm. Our system, according to them, was created to withstand the record high water, and then storms, 1, 10, and 50-year storms. So a 50-year storm is a storm that comes around every 50 years. And so I've asked them, is this a 60-year storm, or because obviously there are parts of our system that did not work uh, under these circumstances. So they're kind of looking at that as well. Thank you again for all of your support and prayers as we go through this. The total cost of this is about $100,000, which camp will be paying out of its savings. But anyways, thank you so much for all your thoughts and prayers. And if things change, I'll be letting you know. Thank you so much.